Darn it!
Okay, what's the problem? Judge is in session.
Chris put my pre-stressed strands in concrete again. Real professional.
Actually, it is. We designed our beam to meet all the PCI rules.
What's the most important thing for a pre-stressed concrete beam? Is it finding the allowable stress design using a Magnol diagram? Is it meeting the ultimate flexural strength design requirements? No, it's the people. The people! The proudest moment on this team was not when I iterated the number of steel strands for pre-tensioning or when I selected the optimal stirrup spacing for shear reinforcement. No. It's when a young junior, first time designing concrete, barely knew what rebar was, came to me and said, "SYDNI, will you show me how to calculate the predicted maximum deflection under ultimate strength?" Wow. Didn't work out in the end. I ended up doing it by myself.
We designed the concrete in the materials lab to have a 17.5 KSI 28-day compressive strength.
Having high workability was important, so the concrete didn't need much vibration, since that causes the coarse aggregate to settle to the bottom of the formwork.
The formwork was designed so that the cast beam would match our detailed drawings within 1/16th of an inch tolerance. We used metal shims to make sure our plywood pieces achieved the correct web width, and we used number 3 rebar for the shear and longitudinal reinforcement. We wear PPE in the lab all the time, but we never made it a full year without an accident. This time I was reaching for a box of screws on the top shelf when one team member, who shall remain nameless, kicked the stool out from under me and yelled,
Hey Dan, how's it hanging?
The formwork and mild steel cage were set up the day prior to casting, and then pre-stressing stands were fed through the beam and tensioned to 70% of the strand nominal strength. The pre-tensioning and casting took place at StressCore, a PCI certified concrete producer here in South Bend, Indiana.
The beam was cast in December, so once the team returned from winter break in January, the formwork was removed and the beam could be tested.
Hey guys, come quick. Andrew's in the structural systems lab and he's acting strange.
What's wrong, Gavin?
There are hairline cracks on the top of the beam. I think he wants you guys to come and watch.
Do I get to wear PPE?
Yes.
Do I need to wear a hard hat?
Not while this machine is off.
Do I get to wear just my protective eye?
Everybody's fine. Everybody's fine. Let's go.
My beam! Oh, my beam!
Andrew, what's wrong?
Everything's wrong. The stress on my pre-stressed concrete beam has caused it to fracture under the service load.
Fracture? Isn't that just a common term for the cracks that occur when the beam is loaded?
Gavin, you ignorant student. Even when the beam isn't under any loads, the pre-stressing stands will already cause flexural stress in the top of the beam, which is why we need to add mild stress reinforcement to control this cracking according to ACI 318.14.
Is that the last concrete design code available?
Yes.
In January, we tested the beam in the structural systems lab. The beam was first tested until it reached the maximum deflection of the load cell, and then the jack and beam were reset to allow completion of the test. As expected, the beam did not achieve the 20 kip cracking load, but it did meet the maximum loading criteria.
great to apply a lot of the stuff we've learned in class over our 4 years, but really more than anything on this project, I learned a lot of woodworking skills, I learned how to work with my hands, I learned the importance of double checking your materials list or else it'll get delayed a lot.
On the design side, we learned the importance of having someone come behind your calculations and double check, not just see the accuracy of the calculation, but also if the magnitude of the numbers make sense.
It was very cool to be able to go through kind of a step further past our reinforced concrete class, learn about eccentricities and magnal diagrams, and kind of learn all the actual practical things you have to know to make this theory into a reality.
It was also really cool to be able to take the full completion of the process to go from design and then into construction and see how it actually behaves during testing as well. I think the most exciting learning experience we had was when we got to visit StressCorps for the first time and see how all of their business worked, and also making those professional relationships with local sponsors within South Bend was probably the most fun part.
I ate a donut at StressCorps. It was delicious.